All right, it's 6:30, so we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. lead us in that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we'll approve the consent agenda and items. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda items, including the meeting agenda, the November financial fund balance statement, minutes of the October 18th regular meeting, updated substitute teacher listing, payment of monthly bills, excluding payments to Larry Benson, Brian Benson, and Cooper Lumber. Does anyone want to make the motion? Kenny makes a motion. Do I have a second? Joel seconds. All those in favor? Carries 6-0. Next, need a motion to approve payments to Larry Benson, Brian Benson, and Cooper Lumber. Does anyone make the motion? Troy makes the motion. I have a second. Michael seconds. All those in favor? Carries 4-0 with 2 abstentions. Next, we'll go into our monthly communications report, MSVA monthly board report.
Association's board report for the month of November. We thank you for the opportunity to share some news and information during a few minutes of your board meeting. We begin with a look at the issue of attracting young people to the teaching profession and retaining them after they begin their teaching careers. In the past 10 years, there's been a 23% decrease in college students going into teacher education programs nationwide. In addition, more than half the adults surveyed in the most recent Phi Delta Kappa poll of the public's attitudes toward the public schools said they would not want a child of theirs to become a teacher, a majority for the first time since that question was first asked in 1969. Missouri's 2019 Teacher of the Year, Shelley Parks, told an audience at the recent MSVA annual conference that has to change. She says it's critical that we attract young people to a profession she loves and retain the teachers we have. But she says we need to ask ourselves some hard questions.
Are we in our schools putting funds towards programs that encourage future teachers? Are we being relational with the teachers we do have to make them feel valued and appreciated? Are we supporting and encouraging our teachers? And are we celebrating our schools so that people realize how truly awesome public education is?
Parks works as a high school English teacher in the Francis Howell School District. She will serve as Missouri's representative to the National Teacher of the Year competition. Nearly 250,000 Missouri high school students and adults take part in career education training programs in high schools, area career centers, and higher education institutions throughout the state. Training programs are offered in fields such as agriculture, business, health science, and technology and engineering. There's a new emphasis on the importance of career education as a way to prepare young people for jobs that are in high demand. The issue was brought up during a panel discussion with members of the State Board of Education at the recent MSVA annual conference. A new member of the State Board, Dr. Don Claycomb, retired after serving as president of State Technical College in Lynn, and he says it's critical for school leaders to listen to the business community so our schools can produce the employees they need.
We expect to have people coming out of that program and the skills, the knowledge, and the attitude that we need for them to start working in our company. And I think that when we have advisory committees, for example, and that's one of the most efficient, effective ways to work with the employee community. it's important that we listen to what those advisors have to say from business and industry, and that we do everything we can to turn out that product that they are looking for.
Governor Parson has made workforce development a top priority of his administration. The State Board of Education has narrowed the field of candidates for the position of Commissioner of Education to 4 and plans to interview those individuals this month. State Board of Education President Charlie Shields announced at the October State Board meeting there were 5 applications and 7 nominations for the position. The names of the 4 finalists remain confidential. The State Board hopes to have a permanent commissioner on the job by the first of the year. Filing for school board seats up for election in April opens December 11th in most school districts in the state. MSVA has a number of free resources available to school board candidates posted on the MSVA website, including a candidate's guide to running for the school board and information on the roles and responsibilities of school boards. Filing for school board seats closes on January 15th. That's it for this month's edition of the MSVA Board Report. Thanks for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and so long from Columbia.
So, I'll give you some news on the commissioners search in just a minute, but December 19th we will have our district open house. We encourage you, if you're available that day, to come by. It will actually be in this room. Teachers come through on their plane periods. We have snacks for them. It's our way to thank them, and several of you in the past have come through just as you have time. We don't expect you to be here all day by any means, because teachers are in and out. We can really never know when they're going to be here. So happy for you to come by. Also on the 20th is our December board meeting. That's the night we will, administrators, principals will have dinner with us and discuss teachers as we move forward. So, all right, that is all I have there, sir.
Okay. Next, we'll go into principal and director reports, and we'll start with high school principal, Dr. Nash.
I'd like to congratulate the football team on an awesome season and also for the great game that they played last Saturday. Also, a huge thank you to our community that donated money so that some of our pep club could attend the game, and we really appreciated that. And also a big thank you to our cheerleaders and our pep club for cheering loudly for our team and then showing great sportsmanship.
Thank you. Special Services Director, Aaron Swell.
Hi, I just want to thank everybody that helps us with our testing process right now. We've had a large number of kids that we're testing, specifically early childhood, so they've all pitched in and worked together, and our counselors have had a lot going on, and they've really all worked together in our process coordinator to make sure we can get those kids tested in a timely manner. So I appreciate them.
Maintenance Director, Mr. Valentine.
Everything's going along pretty normal this time of year for us. It's been a pretty busy fall. I think my guys are just ready for a couple of days off. Spend with family and friends.
Thank you. Next, we'll have executive administration reports, Dr. Dodd.
All right, just a little bit of financial information. Nothing really new has changed. You can bring that up, Mr. Ball. So if you look in October versus November, we still have the same weighted ADA of 1380. And our state adequacy target has not changed. It's still at 6261. So really nothing new has changed in that regard. We're up, right at $118,000 is where we should end up the year. Above revenue. As you remember, we passed a deficit budget though, so we actually need to be up more than that. We will start in January, we'll start estimating ADA, where we'll see a big jump. We'll start to be able to count some pre-K kids. This is the first year we'll be able to do that and take advantage of some higher free and reduced lunch, and higher special education process numbers. So January, February, you'll start seeing a jump in that, but it's a little early to be estimating at this point. So we really need to make up about 300, you know, if we can make up 300, that'd be great. I'd be okay with making up a quarter. I still think we'll have a balanced budget at that point, but we're trending about where I felt like we were going to be, so I'm pretty happy with it at this point. Any questions about that? All right, so I'll echo Dr. Nash and our fall sports wrap up. We really had a good fall. Volleyball team made huge strides. Obviously, the football team did a great job. Couldn't ask for any more. From our volleyball team, they went from 5 or 6 wins to 14 or 15. Coaches did a good job. We're excited about the direction of our volleyball program. Obviously, Coach Swafford and his staff, they just do a great job. You don't have a football team that wins your district and your conference 2 years in a row, and really didn't have a very close game in the conference season. So we're really happy with them. So we had some great community turnout at our football games. We raised a lot of money and some minute to win it's. Our cheerleaders run those for some needy groups, foster families, and then we had some other tragedies in our community that our community came together and raised money for. So it's a great avenue for that. You know, you don't want to do too many of them, but anytime I check, our cheerleaders are like, yeah, we'll do it, and they collect it, bring it to me, we count it, we get it to those people that need it. So I want to thank them for that. All right, April 2nd, 2019 board election signups begin December 11th at 8 a.m. in our office, and they closed January 15th at 5 p.m. That will be in the paper. We'll send that information out, but that's just for your information. And we have 2 seats that are up for this year, and it's, I think I'm wrong, I think I'm right with this, it's Lola and Troy, your 2 seats are up. So that are the dates for election sign up. So, DESE commissioner, as you know, we've been without a commissioner for almost a year. And we've had an interim commissioner in Roger Dorson. Those interviews were yesterday, and they hired Dr. Margie Van Dieven. Today was the announcement. She was the commissioner previously, the one that Governor Greitens had forced out, that he had appointed enough board members to vote his way to force her out. If you remember, the education community was a little riled up a year ago at this time. So I thought it was interesting. I had talked to Margie maybe 6 months ago, and she wasn't interested in the job at that time. Good things have changed, obviously. We have a new governor, we have really a new direction. So that's a good thing. We're happy to have Margie back. I'll see her next month. I sit on the Commissioner's Advisory Council. So we get to meet with the Commissioner about once a month, and it's a good thing. She starts, I think her first official day is January 3rd. But I'm sure we'll see her around before then. So we're excited about that. That is all I have, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Dalton.
Couple different things want to update you on. I know we talked about getting our data back on testing from last spring, and some of those scores from DESE. We do have a timeline we believe is pretty firm at this point. But there are many different layers that this goes through. First, we'll get back individual student information that we hopefully can get in their hands end of this month, first part of December. Then when the school report cards, when you hear us talk about APR and those things, that's really what comes out in phases. There'll be a release where schools can see the information, go through and look for mistakes, see if there are any errors in the data, and that gets resubmitted. Ultimately, that will be released publicly February 1st is the date. But we should start seeing some data into November is what the timeline looks like. A+, just wanted to talk about that a little bit. State of Missouri Department of Higher Education sponsors the A+ program, which is a scholarship program for graduating seniors. Basically, there's some criteria that are established where if they go to certain universities that participate or two-year schools or technical institutions, there's scholarship money available. So we meet with students when they're freshmen and let them know some of those guidelines. Try to have meetings junior or sophomore and junior year also. I then go through and try to meet individually with every single senior, just to let them know exactly what it is, where they are. You know, some of them have heard about it and forgot about it or haven't thought about it, but you know, we know sometimes the plans change. So I just try to sit down with every one of them and go through and see where they're at. So we've got a lot of this senior class that still have that possibility in front of them to be able to meet that criteria. So it's a good program for our kids. And there's something else I wanted to mention is we've gone through some of our PD days, and there are a lot of required trainings that we have to do. And the big one that we have left that we go through with teachers is our intruder training that we have to do. Looking forward to being able to utilize Officer Reed. He's gone to some training. Obviously, his background is going to be different than anybody else that we have here on staff. It's going to be a good thing to be able to have his perspective just because he's here every day. He watches our students as they go from class to class. There have already been things that he's pointed out that, hey, we need to talk about this. We need to. So it's good to have his perspective, just a different viewpoint as we go through those trainings and share that information with teachers.
We have certified him to be, he is certified to provide that training for us. He's obviously been to SRO training, but then he is also trained to provide intruder training. So you have to do that once a year by a trained professional, and he is certified to do that.
That's all I've got.
Okay.
Thank you. Next, we'll start with the action items and the approval of the 17-18 audit report.
So our audit was done in June and then again in July. They come at 2 different times for our audit. We use KPM, CPAs and advisors, a firm out of Springfield we've used for a very long time. Randall Moots has been our auditor here for a very long time. They do a great job. We appreciate them because we can call them whenever we need. They don't charge us any extra for those phone calls. Monica is on the phone to Randall a lot, just making sure that we're doing things the right way. So when he comes to audit it, we've got it. We're all in a good spot. But we have clean audit again. The only thing, material finding that, or material weakness, which we get every year, is separation of duties. It's due to our size and number of personnel. We have to have a CFO that's all they did was work with the general ledger. Nobody else would have access to it. He does note in there that we have made strides because we have hired another set of eyes. We hired an assistant bookkeeper in Shauna, but I don't know that we'll ever get rid of that material weakness. It's not a finding. And we always get a clean audit because we have great ladies in the office. We have Monica Ray and BJ Sterling, and before it was Teresa Stillings with our lunches, and now it's Katrina Matney. Ladies do a great job, and that's why we have the audit we have. So any questions about that? Okay.
We need a motion and vote to approve the 2017-2018 audit report. Floyd makes a motion, have a second. Kenny seconds, any discussion? All those in favor? Carries 6-0. At-risk alternative school program review.
Dr. Nash.
First of all, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. John Johnson, who is our alternative school director. This is his first year, and he's doing a great job for us working with students who are at risk. So I just wanted you to put a face with his name tonight.
Not first year in the district?
Not first year in the district, no, but first year in alternative school. For the AVA Alternative School Program Review, there were 7 staff members, 8 parents, and 17 students surveyed. The program received an average score of 4.27 on a 5.0 scale. In the data chart that I included in your report, you will notice the significant increase of students served last year from 79 to 167, and that is due to offering Spanish through the Alternative School web-based program. 96 students took Spanish last year through the web-based program. Also, there's a significant increase of credits earned at the alternative school due to Spanish courses, and we had 3 alternative school students who graduated with their graduating cohort due to the alternative school program. Strengths noted were the completion of credit program, ability to increase graduation and decrease dropout rates, the summer school program, on-campus location that allows for blended schedules, flexible scheduling, one-on-one teacher assistance as needed, opportunity for at-risk students to succeed. Some of the concerns that were noted was the lack of social interaction compared to traditional classes, lack of physical activity for all-day students, and the current A+ learning system is becoming dated. Recommendations from the surveys included consider involving underclassmen before they fall too far behind. They wanted a water fountain added in the alternative school and limit the number of completion of credit subjects enrolled per student. From this report, actions that we have taken are Mr. Johnson is gathering suggestions from the students to see how they might want to increase social interaction, whether that's small group projects or if it's interactive games with each other for incentives. We added an exercise bike with a desktop for students so that they can get a little bit of exercise. And Mr. Johnson is currently gathering information from other alternative schools on what programs they are using and getting quotes on other programs. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
So we need vote on approving the at-risk alternative school program review. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Roll makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Troy seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carries 6-0. Next, we'll have school bus camera proposals.
We talked briefly about this last month. So we received 3 bids, or I solicited 3 bids from, talked to school districts around us to see what companies they're using. 247 Security was $53,580, and this is for all 26 school buses, so it would be all contractor buses plus all of our trip buses. REI was $66,690. NetWatch, which was the software company that you guys gave me, that's the distributor for NetWatch, was $83,860.58. I think there's absolute validity in school bus cameras. I don't have it in the budget at this point. I would like to build it in the next year's budget. My recommendation would be to wait. Obviously, whatever the board decides to do, but that would be my recommendation. If we were to move on one today, it would be 247 Security. But again, my recommendation would be to wait till have those installed during the summer, out of next year's budget.
Okay.
Have you thought about demoing the 247? It said they offered to let us demo.
Yes, yeah, and I am going to do that because I want to make sure I like their system
Right.
before I make that recommendation to you. But yes, I did talk to him actually yesterday, the day before, and we're going to put it on, I don't know what bus yet, but he is going to give us a system to try.
Is that installed or is that just?
It's installed, all those prices were installed. And those are a pretty good price break from their list price, I will tell you.
Okay, next item is maintenance garage storage building proposal.
Okay, as we're moving forward, we've received 2 bids for the excavation work. This is currently in budget at this point. We have a bid from Dotson Excavating for $8,300 and Lehman Dozing for $8,000. Both of those companies do work for us. Dotson Excavating is the one that's torn down the houses for us previously. Obviously, Lehman Dozing has done quite a bit of work for us in all parts of the district. They both are very reputable, but my recommendation, obviously, if it's the cheapest, would be Lehman Dozy for $8,000. So we need a motion and a vote for that.
Okay, need a motion to vote for the excavation of the maintenance garage storage building for
Lehman Dozy.
Lehman Dozy.
I'll make a motion.
Kenny makes the motion. Do I have a second? Troy seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carries 6-0.
So that is building the pad, getting ready for concrete. So
And did we ever find anybody to do the concrete?
we do. Concrete work, I have 4 bids. 2 of them are way out of realm. I have 2 comparable quality bids. The first one is from Bloodhound Construction. That's Jeremiah Tate. Both of these are Ava people. Jeremiah is pouring a monolithic slab, 40 by 80 monolithic slab. That's all the rebar. All of the finish work for $23,600. That same work from Reed's Construction. This one is new to me. He does quite a bit of work, I think, in the Branson area. I don't know his work. Seemed like a very nice gentleman, but his bid is for $23,100. So you have a $500 difference there. I have no reason not to recommend Reed Construction, except I don't know the work. I know Jeremiah Tate's work, so really the wishes of the board at this point.
I've had Jeremiah work for me, and he's done really good work.
Did we ever get anybody to do the steps on the other end?
I am working on that'll have to be a summer project, but I'm working on bids on that too.
Or you need a motion?
I need a motion for somebody.
I would make that motion to use Bloodhound Construction.
So we have a motion on the table for concrete for the maintenance garage storage building for $23,600 for Bloodhound Construction. Is that right?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll say.
Kenny seconds. Any discussion? All the,
Do we have a total for a finished product on it?
Yeah, I have bids on the building as well, so we're just not there yet.
Are we gonna bid it out, or is
Yes.
our VOTEC people gonna do it?
No, we're gonna build it. We're gonna work with, we have some kids that are gonna be able to help, and our maintenance crew are gonna build it. Yeah, but I have building packages. I've bid it with 4 different people. We're just not ready to go to that direction yet. So, but I'll bring that to you in the next couple of months.
any other discussion? All those in favor? Carries 6-0. Next is student advisory board position.
So Cameron's time with us, she has 1 more meeting with us, and then her time will be done. Dr. Nash runs that process, and she takes care of that for the board and brings and actually students vote on that, and she brings that back to us in December. But we always have a board member sit on those interview panels, and if you would like to appoint somebody, or if you would like to have a volunteer, that is the board president's prerogative to do that.
I could say volunteer. Anyone want to volunteer for it? Dina?
Okay.
Dr. Nash is your volunteer.
All right, thank
So
you.
she will contact you with all the details of that. Okay? Thanks.
Next, we'll discuss the Belcher Scholarship.
So you have, this is the MSVA Belcher Scholarship. You have these in your packet. We have, I think, 13 or 15, several more than we've had in the past, which is great. We like that. So we need to make a decision at next month's meeting who this recipient is going to be. And if you remember, we give them a scholarship locally, but then we move on to, we give them a Board of Education scholarship, but then we move them on to the regional competition. So with this many, I think I'll send you I'll give you this month to look at, but as we get closer to the meeting, I'll send you a form to rank them so we can maybe get the top 3 so you can have some discussion. I think with 13 or 15, it'll be too hard to make that decision, if that's all right with you. Okay? So I'm glad we had that many. If you'll pass along that thank you to Mrs. Burkdahl. I know she and DeVale worked hard to get those kids. They actually wanted more, which I appreciate. So I'd like to have choices. Thank you. That is it, sir.
All right, thank you. That concludes all of our items on the agenda for tonight. Our next regular board meeting will be December 20th at 6:30 in this boardroom. And at this time, I need a motion to adjourn. Kenny makes the motion. I have a second. Michael seconds. All those in favor? Carries 6-0.
You good, Mr. Dalton? Thank you, sir.
We're gonna teach all the new candidates how to rap now.
Yeah. Well, we still haven't seen the video.